Hey, what is up, everybody? It is Tuesday, August 24th, and we are back at it again with a episode of Morning Mint. I am so excited to talk to you guys again, as I am every morning. So much has happened in the last 24 hours with the setting off of the explosion of the entire market with Visa announcing that they bought a punk. That acquisition announcement and that white paper that they released triggered the punks floor to get absolutely obliterated. We saw it go from like 50 all the way up to 75. We've seen more buying on punks in the higher levels, grails being picked up, and it has also kind of flowed out into other projects. Like I said yesterday morning, don't get pigeonholed on only looking at the punks. This money isn't just going to flow in there. It's going to flow into Art Blocks, Meebits, Cool Cats, Oni, and so many other quality projects. And just the last 24 hours have been another insane, buying spree. We've seen big sales. We've seen, just tons and tons of volume across the board. A couple notable things happened that were interesting, out of the ordinary. We'll get into those. I'm going to make an announcement on my withdrawal from a project that I'm no longer associated, as well as Tropo Farmer. A couple big buys, like a Fidenza. We had a Golden Bored Ape sell. Gary V was doing some crazy stuff yesterday, buying up 43 Art Blocks Curated pieces in one block with Mining DAO. Much akin to how we saw Mining DAO buy up 80 punks in one block before. And what else we have? We have a lot of good topics. Some good topics. Going to talk about the market. Market's going to be the focus today. And then we'll look at Chromie, Squiggles, and Punk specifically, and then what's going on in the crypto market. In a serious note right now, I am, I'll read this, but me and Tropo Farm are no longer associated with, no longer endorsing. Our names are no longer associated with Big Brain NFT. And, after careful and extensive auditing, we've made this decision. We're being very public about it because, we did say that we liked the project. We did have our names put out there as consultants for the project. And what it really boils down to is neither of us, myself nor Tropo Farmer, will put our names or will endorse a project if we cannot 100% truly vouch for it. I know Tropo will talk about projects if he's, paid to do it. That's his thing. I get it. I guess on my end of things, I very specifically, if I'm paid to talk about something, which I don't think I'll ever do, I will make that very aware. In this case, it comes down to concerns around social media building, organic following and engagement. There are some concerns with the inability to answer some questions that we thought were pretty important to understand. And at the end of the day, I think, I've had a few tweets about this. Online reputation means so much in this space. And if, you're trusting somebody with hundreds of ETH, and you're trusting, there's lots happening, you're endorsing a roadmap and you're expecting that to be executable. What it really comes down to is you should have zero concerns if you're going to have your name on something. If you're telling people, hey, put money into this, we're endorsing it, our names are associated, and we're trusting that the roadmap is executable. So there are a couple points within our audit process, or at least my audit process, that I do when I'm looking to invest in a project. Associating myself with a project is a little bit more rigorous of a process. In this case, some things slipped through the cracks, and it was really a good learning experience. And I hope this kind of just shows to like everybody. One, I'm always very actively reassessing, my stance on things. I'm open to, new ideas. I didn't jump in and said, I'm not going to listen to anybody or listen to, any signs I see. Always reevaluating. But at the same time, like, I take this very seriously. I'm not going to just, say, hey, I'm going to take the money I'm going to make and bounce. Anything that I talk about has been thoroughly vetted. So We're no longer involved. I would probably spent more on this than I ought to have, but I want to make this very clear because we have talked about it. A lot of people were buying just because me and Tropa were associated and had talked about it. That is no longer the case. So if that was the reason you were buying, please be aware of that. And then if you are just curious what's going on, be aware of the situation and do your own research. So let's get back into the normal stuff here. 150 Cryptopunks this morning. This was tweeted out about 2 hours ago. The floor has been eaten up a little bit. More have come to listing, so it's kind of around the same area. But there's only 150 Cryptopunks until 100 ETH floor. And the floor started at 55. We saw it move to 60, 65, 72. Now we're sitting just above 75 currently. And this chart's insane. Like, this is, like, we can see the volume pump. We can see Gary V buys. And when that did, volume dropped. And really at this point, it's the FOMO of owning a punk has really kicked in. I've moved funds around at a rate that I did not think was possible to try to get to a punk. Unlikely going to happen at this point just because the market does seem to be continuing to move. The minimum sale price, just increasing close. What I think we'll see here is this will start to go closer and closer to a 100 ETH sale very quickly here. And total sales is probably going to start to dry up as the prices get more and more expensive. This eliminates a lot of the players from the game. It's just wild to see this happening. We'll dive into those charts a little bit later in the show. Quick shout out to G-Funk. G-Funk is the founder of Pixel Vault, Punk's comic, and Meta Heroes, picking up a Grail Punk. Absolutely amazing for him. 270 ETH for this Punk pipe hoodie with the little shaven beard. I love it. Super comfy looking. Dude, super congrats. Awesome to see my friends winning. In other crazy news, we also have a Fidenza sale yesterday going for 1,000 ETH. This is absolutely just bonkers. Like, we were talking about like 600 ETH Fidenza sales being crazy. Fidenzas a couple weeks ago were, 10, you could get them up for 10 to 20 ETH, and then you saw the floor go to 20, then 35, then 100, and now we're seeing sales in the thousands. Fidenzas currently sitting at a floor price. We'll pull it up real quick. Fidenza's currently sitting at a floor price, or it's not going to work, over 100, I believe, currently. Bored Ape 1734, which is a golden ape, selling for 420 ETH. Another huge pickup, well into the 7-figure range. Again, we're just yesterday into today and throughout the rest of the week. Mentally prepare yourself for big sales to happen. Lots of volume. Money is flowing around. People are looking for deals. And if you see a project and you're like, hey, this project hasn't gotten that love, like I said, into the weekend, Cool Cat still hasn't got it. Yesterday morning, Cool Cat still hasn't gotten it. Last night, telling friends on the phone, Cool Cat still has not seen that surge. We're still sitting in the 1.7 to 2 ETH range. And then waking up this morning and seeing that it's done a 50% increase. Like, these are things that were kind of expected. Just there's certain laggards in the market. So big sales, laggards, where's money flowing? Just have that mentality as you're looking. So that Bored Ape selling for 420 ETH. Seeing a ton of volume over at Curio Cards with Noah Davis announcing for Christie's that on October 1st, there will be a full set of 30 Curio Cards going to auction. And just to make a correction, I guess, to everybody who's curious, there will be a 17B included, which was one of the cards. So exciting news there. Just showing more and more crypto stuff. Or more and more NFTs are being adopted, not only by if we look at Visa and Christie, institutions that we would expect to be slow and laggards in this are getting active, and it's very exciting. Vincent Van Doe being told to meet Pablo Picasso. Jaron, one of the expert detectives in the space, taking the time to go through Mr. Pablo's wallet, finding that he has 37 Cryptopunks, 73 Meebits, 50 Cybercon VXs, and a huge collection of one-of-ones. Really cool stuff. And, they're just, you got to remember, everybody, there are lots of wallets that are popping everywhere and going nuts. And you can kind of, I guess, learn from these guys that are whales and what they're doing. I wouldn't ghost trade them. And like, if they buy a piece, you go buy the piece. Again, make sure you know what you're buying, because some of these guys are just buying because it looks cool and they're like, oh, I'll throw some money at it. But I would try to find like somebody who has like a decent collection. They've made really good buys really early on, and then I would follow and see like, hey, they don't have just a ton of money and they're making tons of money. Like, they have a small set, they're making very good trades. That's why I encourage people to follow people like Tropo, who, didn't come into this with a lot of money. He started with a couple $100s. He's traded, he's flipped, and he's actively looking at potential deals. Those are the type of people I try to listen to and get a perspective from. Jeron also explaining yesterday, and again, I use him for most of my wallet detective work, explaining that Gary V and AJV were behind the huge one block transaction for the Scribbles that were purchased yesterday. It just absolutely insane. For those who don't know, let's see if I can pull this up, or if OpenSea is just not going to work during this recording. It looks like it's not. I don't know why. It's probably because OpenSea servers are down right now. But Gary buying up about 43 Scribbles. I forget how much that works out to. I think the average ETH cost was like 3.5. There we go. We have so you can see all of the transfers happening here. Looks like there were, so you can see like the purchasing happening here, and then getting transferred out to AJ's wallet there, and I believe the others going to Gary's other cold wallet as well. So huge purchase. I think the thought process here was that Gary wanted to test out this new technology. I believe Gary talks to Mining DAO on a podcast somewhere or on a show. I heard a rumor about that somewhere. I haven't been able to find it yet. If I do find it, I'll link it below. But yeah, like, huge purchase. They're both long on Art Blocks, trying new tech. And this just shows that like Gary V is getting more and more into the ecosystem and playing around with it. Speaking of Art Blocks, we had an Art Blocks drop yesterday that was super interesting. I'll share some alpha here that came from my Discord. This drop opened at a Dutch auction that started at 2, and then every 5 minutes it dropped by 0.2, so it went 2, 1.8, 1.6. Well, it didn't get to 1.6. It went 2, 1.8, sold out. Art Blocks obviously has huge demand right now. And it's, if you can get a purchase, you're most likely going to make money. A lot of people waited for that 1.8 point when it dropped and they could save 10%. What ended up happening was, the other 10,000 people who wanted to buy this project also waited for 1.8, and it sold out immediately. Like, everybody put in, fast gas and tried to save money. The strategy here was just to buy it at 2 if you like the art, not try to gamify it, just buy it. And we'll likely see this happen with the rest of the Art Blocks projects, where you just click buy, and you're gonna have to pay the higher price. It's not really a Dutch auction at the end of the day, because there's just too much demand, and the market's willing to pay whatever they have to pay to get into this. So super interesting. Thought I'd just share some info there that came out of my Discord. We're gonna look at the OpenSea market right now. Lots and lots and lots of green. Like, if there's red on here, I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just because there was a huge spike, but so much volume happening. So many projects are up. We have Cryptopunks at first, number 2, Art Blocks Curated, 3, Oni Force, 4, Bored Ape Yacht Club, and 5, Parallel Alpha. Art Blocks Curated floor is at 2.6, Oni Force at 6 ETH up on a floor, like absolutely bonkers stuff. It makes sense. We all saw it coming. I really do think that we'll see Oni Force have a really high appreciation up. Like we could see 10 ETH. I can see that happening. There will be a pullback at some point. There's a lot of flipping and trading happening here. But what'll end up most likely happening here is like this is just going to be a very, very hyper speed version of a lot of the high quality projects because there's so much money coming in. There's going to be so many people trying to get into different projects. And then what'll happen is the anticipation, the hope will almost overstep their roadmap build out, what they're doing with the community. People will get impatient. It'll pull back. But I still don't have any doubts on their roadmap. Like I do think that they have the execution team, the art team, the minds there, the community's there. But a lot of these flippers that are coming in, a lot of the new money will get impatient. That's just a thought there. Bored Ape Yacht Club saying the floor is 25, but I highly doubt that. If there's a way to pull that up real quick, it shouldn't be. I think the floor yesterday was pushing 30 at one point. We broke 30, and if it pulled all the way back to 25, I'd be very it would make sense just because we saw a huge run up. But I do think that a lot of people would be buying into any kind of dip in that project. Playground and Factory continue to have, potentials for huge rises, but we are seeing projects within there start to get very expensive. There are projects that do have double-digit price tags on them. You do need to go through and do your research, see what potential artists haven't been, discovered or haven't been appreciated yet. CyberKong's VX, 1 ETH floor, we're seeing that pull back a little bit. Not expecting anything crazy to happen there. Pudgy Penguins sitting around 3. We're nearing all-time high prices for the Pudgy Penguins again, so potentially might see some sell-off as we start to go towards those prices. The CyberKongs at 2.4. Meebits at 3.5. Seeing a ton of money go into those. Cool Cats sitting at 3 ETH. Like I said, it was a project that we just hadn't seen totally appreciate. And I'll note again, like Hashmask, Mooncats, 2 projects that I'm not concerned, but confused by, like haven't seen that, huge uplift in price quite yet. So potential alpha there. Punks Comics sitting at a 3.33 floor. Tons and tons of activity happening around Punks Comic. Super, super cool. Gutter Cat Gang sitting at almost a 7 ETH floor. Congrats to Gutter Cat Gang. I remember watching this project break 1 ETH and run up to like 1.5 and then pulling back to 1. 2 months ago. The community's been pretty strong. The gang posts and comments are great. So I love to see that. And I love to see a lot of people, especially like seeing Richard buy into the project. This should make for some very good discussion when I'm on the Cat podcast. So excited for that. Curo Cards obviously seeing a rise from their 0.3 floor after that Christie's announcement. Bored Ape Kennel Club sitting at 3 ETH floor, not too shabby. Ghost at 11.84. That's insane. Like 11.84. Huge purchase by the other day, seeing that purchase of 620 ETH. But all around, people looking at this project and saying because of the hand-drawn nature and the community and their expectations for what's going to come of it, price is just starting to skyrocket. 2 of my biggest regrets, or 3 of my biggest regrets, selling the 3 pieces I own from the project. Just wild. Stuff I paid like $100 for, now worth $100,000. Just insane. Treeverse talked a lot about this. Didn't pick one up. Unfortunately, had too many other areas I was looking at. Seeing Treeverse just pop off 1.55 ETH floor. And I'll make a note on that real quick, and then we'll jump specifically into some of these projects in a second. But there's so many different areas you can put money. It's almost like a dog in a park and they're running and they see a squirrel and they see another squirrel and like they don't actually go catch any of the squirrels, like, because they keep getting distracted. I think I certainly fall into this area a couple times, and the best thing I can kind of give as advice to people is, look around, kind of be observant, and then when you find something that interests you, go, but don't, as you're like looking into it, pop away. Like, get to the end of your analysis and say, am I going to buy or not? What is my expected return? Am I happy with that? And if so, execute. Don't kind of like keep playing and like kicking tires, because otherwise you're just going to watch things go past you. And I've seen that happen a few times. I'm definitely getting better at it. But that would be kind of my advice to you guys. VFriends 8.4 ETH floor. I don't know. I'm starting to think that VFriends is underpriced. As we see a lot of these other projects pop off, the utility and access potentially just not really being fully appreciated. Template here kicking off of a floor of 0.12. I love the chat on this because we have seen a lot of talk. Pranksy has tweeted about it. The Hearst floor at 9. Let's see, anything else? Supducks, huge rise at 0.64. I'll stand corrected from yesterday's video. I did say that this has been a laggard, but I don't see if a lot of people using it in the community. I do stand corrected. I do see the people starting to put it as their projects again. They're all saying sup in the comments. So big shout out to Supducks. Cool to see you guys see such a big rise. Autoglyphs at 355 ETH floor, so not too much of a change. Like, we were around like 280. But again, these are expensive pieces. I do think they're undervalued. Like, that probably sounds insane. Like, they're $1 million+ dollars. But I do think that these are undervalued by a lot. Surprised that the floor on these isn't closer to 1,000 ETH. Just my opinion, being kind of the Genesis project for Larva Labs and only having 512. I just think they're very undervalued. Anything else crazy happening here? There's just so much happening. You can see in the floors that a lot of stuff has appreciated in price. Hashmass at 0.75, seeing a ton of volume. Stoner Cats at 0.37. Let's see here. Twin Flames currently sitting at 70 ETH floor. Expecting that to seriously rise. This has been a laggard in the space. Like, when we look at one-of-ones, the one-of-one space currently just not appreciating quite like a lot of these, cap projects where we see, Cryptopunks obviously being, sought after in Bored Ape Yacht Club because they're two very prominent projects. But, when it comes to one-of-one art, this is fine art and pieces that are going to kind of represent this era of time. And Twin Flames, with only 100 pieces, and within those pieces, very specific kind of possibilities to make pairs, and there's very unique stories within them. These pieces I just think are undervalued. And yeah, I do own one. I'm disclosing that, but I think we can all agree that the one-of-one market versus like CryptoPunks, Bored Ape Yacht Club almost don't make sense in some cases. Like, the one gets you into a community, but the other one is like the very fine art that there's only one of. It's to a very unique and prestigious artist. And so I think what we'll start to see is a rotation at some point out of the big money going into these very easy names to buy, like a Cryptopunk or Art Blocks. And then going from there and going into, going into the... I'm sorry, there was a huge jet that flew over or something. I was like very confused what the noise was. Going into projects that are like one-of-ones. So let's hop into these projects. Template, one that I've seen a lot of talk about. I'm just gonna pull it up because I'm curious. So yeah, it's interactive, almost. It rotates. There's some audio to it. Interesting, very interesting. So VR official template created by Team Template, one color palette. And so I'm seeing a lot of people or at least the pitch is that it is a version. It's like the new art blocks, but it has a way to essentially outplay art blocks. I need to do some more research on it. It's just one of those things that I've seen mentioned in different group chats. Floor price currently is at 0.12. On the activity side, have we seen anything crazy happening? Yeah, so it's the floor is down. It looks like at like 0.3 for apparently what has liquidity. Seen some bigger sales come in. So will be very interesting to see how this plays out. Another platform, or at least collective, to now potentially compete with Art Blocks, because we haven't seen an Art Blocks competitor really come out and challenge them. Gutter Cat floor, like I said, around 7. Look at this chart. I mean, this is going to be the chart for most of the projects, like just chilling, and then we're popping off over the last couple days, prices going up. Seeing sales for Gutter Cats in the high single digits and a couple double digits rolling through at 15 and 16. We like it. We like the cats. Pulling up the Art Blocks Curated chart here, big volume happening, big pricing, average price pushing 15 ETH because we've seen so many big sales. And even within the last couple of minutes here, like seeing Nimbuds goes, CryptoBlots going, just lots and lots and lots of focus here. And Hyperhash by Tiny Wheel just being annihilated. And Hyperhash is a very unique project within Art Blocks because it is kind of a bottleneck. And there's been a lot of analysis and talk around Hyperhash as being kind of the project to buy. So it looks like about 175 ETH worth in purchases, or maybe it's 200 by Tiny Wheel. Actually, way more. So over 200 ETH in buys by Tiny Wheel for Hyperhashes. Those will likely age well. Chromie Squiggle going for 36. It looks like a bold. Lots and lots of buys happening here. Oh, we had an issue. There. So Art Blocks obviously seeing some recording. The going up. Oh my God. Yeah. So Art Blocks definitely seeing that that volume still sticking around. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. The software like paused up. I guess it isn't a morning mint without technical issues. Again, staying on brand. Oniforce, Floors just keeps rising. Makes sense. I think the project resonates and it fills a huge gap within the anime community. The art just pops. The storyline kind of pops. The lore pops. And yeah, I'm expecting this to continue to rise in price. Don't think it's too long until we see double-digit pricing on this project. And it's very cool to see pieces that were listed at 8 ETH. Like I said, listed for 4 8 ETH, now selling at 20. Absolutely insane. Super exciting. Bored Ape Yacht Club currently saying it's sitting at a 24.99 floor. I'm going to double check this because I don't know if that floor is correct on the buy now. So yeah, the floor is really 33 or 32. 32, then it goes to 33. OpenSea's lying to us. The site is kind of broken right now. And then we're seeing buys. Like, people still want it. Like, it's coming in. It's not like it got expensive and nobody wants to buy. Seen at 16.55 roll in. That's free money for whoever got that. So seeing just wild stuff going about right now. 27, that seems low as well. Like, I think we're seeing a couple people accepting bids they probably ought to not accept. But we are seeing like 50s and 60s roll through. And I'm expecting this to continue up because it is one of those projects that just is very prominent. Meebits currently 3.55 ETH floor. Activity-wise, we are looking at, we are currently sitting at just like a peak, a bump in volume, bump in attention. Like I said before, ought to be buying pigs, elephants, and hoodie up. Those are the unique identifiers within the project. and we're still seeing that. So lots and lots of buys happening, and the pigs, obviously, those being the best age buys where you could be picking those up for 6 and they're now selling for 20. Cool Cats finally seeing their rise in appreciation and price, breaking into the threes and seeing lots of stuff start to go for 4, 5, and 6. And let's look at Punk's Comic. Punk's Comic currently the mint pass sitting around 4.5, 4.4 ETH. Punk's Comics sitting at 4.75 ETH. DAO tokens sitting down by 4. So, if you bought a Punk's Comic for 0.2 and you paid high gas, which is, that first hour of minting it was open, you were probably in these for, we'll just say 0.25 a piece. And now your current value with that comic and the mint pass, if you claimed it, is currently sitting probably around 7.5, probably actually closer to 8. You're sitting around 8.5 ETH off a 0.2 ETH investment, which is mind-boggling. So super exciting to see that. I have mine sitting, waiting to go as far as staking. And I've burned the half that I'm going to burn. The other half is sitting there ready for staking. Super excited for this project, ready for the Meta Heroes reveal. Just wanted to point this out. So Chromie Squiggles, I was looking at Fuzzy because I own a Fuzzy. What we're looking at currently on the Squiggle stuff is that there has been an insane appreciation in pricing. We're seeing huge volume go up. The volume's dropped off. We're seeing the pricing still continue to go. And in the last couple days here, we're seeing where the price was kind of like hanging still. It really just comes down to people want to buy the Genesis project for Art Blocks. It's seen as like the OG one. It's seen as like the investment in Art Blocks as a platform and Snowfro. So I'm expecting this to continue. Will this pull back? Most likely. I think it's getting a little overstretched on some of the pieces. I can definitely see that the normal Squigglies are selling a little over what I would expect them to be selling for with some of the other prices. So, yeah, I do expect these standard Squiggles to pull back, and then for maybe like the Fuzzies and the Ribbed and those to kind of stay and not sink as quickly. For Punks, it's quite the same story. Just kind of chilling, and then we pop off with an insane chart here. Lots of volume, lots of pricing. This morning, continuing that rise, we're seeing median sale price go towards 80, and minimum sale price start to head towards 70 as that floor rises. And if we look at the floor, I'm going to refresh. We'll see 74. No, not too much since the recording of this started. So the floor 75, not too much to push this to 80. And then like Degen's data said, there's only like 150 to get to 100 ETH floor, sitting right around here. So not too many to go. Over the last 24 hours, we've seen some big sales. We've seen a lot of volume. We're seeing stuff start to go for 80 to 100 without a question. We're seeing 200 ETH sales come in for top hats. We're seeing 1,600 ETH sales for zombies. We're seeing big shades go for 100. Smileys going for 100. Hoodies are getting snapped up left and right because, I'm expecting the hoodie floor to be well over 100, a couple weeks from now. Or the hoodie floor over 1 million a few weeks from now. G-Funk's Punk 270. Let's see, what else? I got a mask with a cap forward 85. That's a cool pickup. There's lots of good pickups within here. 3D's getting snapped up. Top hat for 200. Crazy hair for 100. There's just lots and lots of volume here. The pricing is certainly not sensitive. It's not like the floor is the only thing getting bought, so there's lots of demand. And I'm expecting that to continue, just because Cryptopunks are the blue chip of NFTs. Bitcoin currently sitting at $48,600. Ethereum at $3,250. Both are having a little bit of a pullback in the last 24 hours. The whole market overall down only 3% in the last 24 hours. So we're seeing a little bit, and we'll look at the detailed chart right here. We're seeing a little bit of a pullback only within the last hour. Everything else is kind of just hanging still, not much happening. And then we saw a bit of a pullback. And I'll make a note here. And again, not a trader, just pointing this out because I do look at this. It does impact my financial standing. It does impact how I am utilizing and moving money around. We do have a support here. I was expecting this to come down, hit 3,200 almost on the head, and then bounce there. Do understand that though, we have these two support lines here. If it breaks, we're going down to 3120 is the next support line. But we're really kind of just looking at the 33 support area as the, are we going up or going down line? And it's a little hard to see here on the overall. And again, this is a mess. Like I'm just I throw ideas out there and just try to figure out what's going on. And please don't, if you're a trader and you're looking at this and you're like, Jesus, what is this guy doing? This is just kind of how I look at it. It seems to work for me. And I do just kind of be aware of, what's happening with supporting levels. Are there any trends? It's all pattern finding. That's all this is, especially in the NFT market. It's all looking for patterns. It's trying to find human behavior. And I think trading is a lot like that. So currently launching here, I don't think we'll break through. I do feel like we're going up from here. So just my note, do your own research, not financial advice. So yeah, thanks for guys. Thank you all for watching. A little bit of an odd show. Sorry about the technical difficulties in the middle there. Not sure what happened, with like the flickering of the screen and software pausing. But I hope you all enjoyed this. Hope you got some value out of it. We'll catch you guys on tomorrow's show.